The pursuit of the truth is often met with deceit, but the quest for liberty always discovers the truth. As you already know, Senator incumbent Claire McCaskill lost the 2018 midterm re-election bid to Missouri State Attorney General Josh Hawley. What you may not know, however, is that McCaskill's campaign staff was caught on video admitting that they intentionally misled the public as to who the senator really is. Missouri is historically a red state, and the only way that she could stay in office for so long was to disguise herself as more of a centrist candidate. McCaskill has relied on the fact that most voters don't actually look up Senate voting records to find out that she is an extreme leftist who stands against their values. In other words, she does not represent their constituents. Instead, she tricks them into voting against their own interests. Some right-leaning commentators did report on this, but other than a local news station out of Springfield, Missouri, the mainstream media did not. It is particularly interesting that, following the election, none of the right-of-center commentators bothered to remind the public of this exposure. There were several candidates that were exposed in the weeks prior to the election. An undercover journalism organization known as Project Veritas, headed by James O'Keefe, put in a lot of hard work so that the American people could be more informed as to the true intent of some of the politicians. It is a serious fail not to remind the public of the undercover work, as it may have contributed greatly to the loss of these candidates. The following is a compilation of both uncover video along with the news report and the debate footage, which catches Claire McCaskill's contradictory reactions.
Great. Yeah. I can tell them, because she does, support a semi-automatic firearm ban. Because I want to say something I shouldn't say.
I think a semi-automatic rifle ban.
Okay.
Is more so what she would support.
So here's the real question. Yeah. Claire holds off on impeachment to get the moderates. What do we tell the moderates after we drop the impeachment hammer afterwards? To get over it?
It was a national security question. That information was confidential, and she did her duty by not revealing the information until afterwards.
And also get over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Get over it. That president sucked. Let's move on.
Because of how he's a very liberal candidate, and kind of Claire distancing herself from the party is going to help her win more votes than it will. Saying oh, here's Obama, the former president of the United States, to now speak on my behalf, which is unfortunate because I love Obama to pieces, and I'd love to see him come here.
And they essentially have the same views on everything.
Yeah.
You know,
people just can't know that.
Well, if we elect enough Democrats, we'll get some gun safety stuff done.
We have a disturbing new undercover video, very revealing. Veritas.
There was somebody who came in sort of posing as a senior volunteer and basically got these young people talking in that fashion.
Hey, this is James O'Keefe for Outside the Partisan Campaign. Would you like to see yourself on video?
In Missouri, incumbent Democrat Senator Claire McCaskill is vying to keep her seat in the typically Republican-leaning state.
I've got a large body of work that is bipartisan, that does accomplish things that matter for Missouri families. I'm one of the few senators left that's not afraid to call myself a moderate.
Yeah, I think it's like a tactic that's going to not make them too far left to try to get the moderate voters.
But we're still going to support abortion, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Don't stocks,
Oh, I've voted
high capacity mags.
I've voted for most of those things before.
For a ban?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
It's like we have to lie to get elected.
Essentially.
Welcome to Claire McCaskill's Senate campaign headquarters. Project Veritas action version, of course. We take you to the Senate race in Missouri. Senator Claire McCaskill claims to be independent and bipartisan, but on an array of issues, particularly guns, she is anything but. Now, we caught Senator McCaskill behind closed doors talking to someone that she thought worked for her. And let me tell you something about Senator Claire McCaskill of Missouri. The things that you're about to hear her and her staffers say are not the types of things they would ever say publicly while on the campaign trail.
Well, if we elect enough Democrats, we'll get some gun safety stuff done. They won't let us vote on it. We've got 60 votes for a number of measures that would help with gun safety, but McConnell won't let them come to the floor.
Well, like bomb stocks and ARs and high-capacity mags.
All of that.
It's crazy.
It's nuts. The NRA will be all in for my opponent. So another good reason for everybody to suit up and work hard, because they are going to be all in for him. They'll spend millions of dollars on his race. They always spent millions of dollars against me. But if we have the kind of year I think we might have, I think we could actually be in a position that we could get votes on this stuff on the floor, and we'd get 60. McConnell knows it. He just doesn't want to put it on the floor, because then it goes to the House, and then it's awkward, because all those House members are total NRA folks.
So you would be on board with the bump stock?
Of course.
Bump stocks,
Oh, I've voted
high-capacity mags.
I've voted for most of those things before.
So for a ban?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
Our journalist got clarification from McCaskill campaign field organizer Carson Pope on what should be said to progressive voters.
It's like I'm telling you, there's something going on. Like, because I got the same argument from this guy. She doesn't support a ban on semi-automatic firearms. And I'm like, I'm right,
Yeah,
right? She does.
Like, you heard her say that, like, in your conversation with her.
Right.
2 months ago, right? Yeah.
I can tell them, because she does support a semi-automatic firearm ban. Because I want to say something I shouldn't say.
I think semi-automatic, like a semi-automatic rifle ban.
Okay.
Is more so what she would support.
Senator McCaskill knew she had a friendly audience. There is none of this kind of talk when she is out on the campaign trail. And on her website, there is not a single reference to her obviously strong position on such a key issue for Missouri voters. Her staffers explained why.
I wish you would talk a little bit more about guns, dude. Yeah. Because I asked her while she was here, and she told me she supports an AR ban, and bump stock ban, and a high-capacity magazine ban. But I don't ever hear her say it.
Because she has a bunch of Republican voters.
We don't want them to...
They're not going to look into her. Like, they're just not.
Ed, there's a theme with these red state Democrats. They can't be completely transparent. We've seen it in Tennessee with our release last week. Why does Senator McCaskill feel the need not to be transparent about what she's actually going to do when she's elected in Missouri?
Well, you know, with Claire McCaskill, Senator McCaskill's been in office so long, there's actually an interesting pattern. When a decade ago, she would go outstate in Missouri and say to farmers, hey, I'm for the Second Amendment, I'm for you guys. Then she'd come back in the city and she'd pander to the liberals in the city. What happened over time in a state like Missouri is our outstate guys and families started getting more conservative, and suddenly a lot of the collar counties that voted for Bill Clinton are voting for Trump. So now she's got to hide who she's for to a bigger set of people, and it really has gotten complicated. I think she's being smoked out now because people are seeing the difference. Like, you can't get away from saying one thing in Sedalia and saying another thing in St. Louis.
But she doesn't like openly go out and support groups like Moms Demand Action or just like other groups that are like related to that, because that could hurt like her ability to get elected, because people like see that and they're just like, well, I don't want to support her even though like they stand for the same policies.
Right.
So she's worked out like stuff with Moms Demand Action to make sure that like she can support their goals without supporting the organization openly. And you know, Moms Demand Action like does the exact same thing. Like a lot of our volunteers are actually from there. No, she's really good about strategy and like making sure that, you know, she like has a goal and can get there.
That's right. Mills tells our journalist how Senator McCaskill cannot openly support anti-gun groups for fear of hurting her chances to get reelected. Others on the staff agreed.
I just know we need to start with the assault rifles and stuff, and then we can move on handguns. Once we get there, you know, it's just like they give us an inch, we take 1,000,000 miles.
Yeah.
I mean, because they would do the same to us.
That's very true.
You know, so it's just like, fuck your Second Amendment. People are dying.
I know, I agree. I hope something changes after 2018 and 2020.
I was so happy when she said, oh yeah, I voted for those bans. We're going to do it. If we can get to the floor, we got 60. All we got to do is get it to the floor. Yeah. And I was like, that's cool. But then she had to go, and I didn't get a chance to say, hey, you know, once we do that, we're going for handguns, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't get a chance to ask her, but
yeah.
I mean, I think she's down for that.
I would say so too.
Senator McCaskill is running for the Senate, but running away from the Democratic Party. If you go to her website, you might actually conclude that she is a Republican. The word Democrat is nowhere to be found.
Is Obama like campaigning now?
Yeah. So Obama is campaigning for Democrats, yes, but Obama will not be coming to Missouri because of how polarizing a figure he is in Missouri. There's thoughts that Obama would do more harm here than he would do good for Claire.
I can tell you that Missouri has not just trended red, it's trended away from Obama's policies. You know, a lot of people in St. Louis and Kansas City that are traditionally Democrat are not voting for Democrats because of Obama.
Why would she be ashamed of her support for Obama?
Well, the biggest reason is because Obama's policies on health care and on Second Amendment rights are so obvious to Missourians that she wants to try to hide from that. I mean, look, it's a loser in Missouri.
Nick Starost explained to our journalist how Senator McCaskill needs to distance herself from President Obama to legitimize her appeal to moderate voters.
Yeah, because of how he's a very liberal candidate, and kind of Claire distancing herself from the party is going to help her win more votes than it will. Saying oh, here's Obama, the former president of the United States, to now speak on my behalf. Which is unfortunate because I love Obama to pieces, and I'd love to see him come here.
And they essentially have the same views on everything.
Yeah.
You know.
People just can't know that.
People just can't know that, Starost boasts. While McCaskill may pretend to be a middle-of-the-road incumbent, her staffers tell us the real story. Listen to how Starost and company discuss future plans of impeachment.
If he's impeached, America will become a great country.
Absolutely. That's the plan, man. Back to the golden ages. When you say shit like that.
So, my mom is just attached to this idea that we're going to impeach Trump before the election, and that's just not going to happen.
No, I think you're right. I think we have to not let people know that that's the plan until.
Yeah. The Republican Party's going to be in an uproar about it.
Right.
And if we're not the party in power when it happens, then who knows what's going to happen to democracy.
This is Glenn Winfrey, another McCaskill campaign staffer. The way he details a plan for impeachment of President Trump is revealing.
So here's the real question.
Yeah.
Claire holds off on impeachment to get the moderates. What do we tell the moderates after we drop the impeachment hammer afterwards? To get over it?
It was a national security question. That information was confidential, and she did her duty by not revealing the information until afterwards.
And also get over it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Get over it. That president sucked. Let's move on.
Get over it, making it clear that Senator McCaskill and her campaign are putting on a front for the moderate voters in order to get elected. As our journalist pressed on, we discovered that McCaskill is receiving money from Democratic U.S. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer.
We get money from Chuck Schumer a lot, too.
Outwardly?
I think it's his PAC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Another one of those things where we get the money, but, keeping it on the DL.
Yeah. I truly don't understand how fundraising works.
Right.
I just take the money.
Claire McCaskill understands the threats to our border.
Those ads against McCaskill on immigration just aren't true. No senator is tougher on securing the border than Claire McCaskill.
I'm Claire McCaskill, and I approve this message.
If you saw this ad for Senator McCaskill, you might think she is a big wall supporter and very tough on immigration. Her staffers would tell you otherwise.
Yeah, so I want to just kind of address that. Claire is not in favor of voting the law at all. She said that's a really stupid idea. She is in favor of is DACA. She's very pro DACA, pro DREAM Act. I heard her say that at a town hall last year. The only thing with that ad is she's endorsed by not the Border Patrol or the ICE or any of that. She's endorsed by the union that works.
Oh, yeah.
And that's literally only because she's good with unions.
She's really.
So she's also in favor of increasing border security in terms of technology, not a physical wall, but security kind of. So.
Wait, what commercial is it? I've seen the one where she was like, "It's just where it basically claims she wants open borders."
No, it's not that. It's not that one. It's basically the counter to that one. That was
it's the counter to that one.
It was dropped by the border workers or the border
Patrol Union.
Border Patrol Union.
So I just
It was in favor.
In case y'all hear something about that, she's pro DACA. She's against the wall, but she's in favor of increasing technological security on the border.
Yeah, but if we have a person that kind of seems a little bit Trumpy, a little bit on the conservative side. I mean,
that's what the ad's aimed at.
Right.
It's just pissing off people like us who the ad is not aimed at.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if they ask, unless they specifically ask, is she voting for the wall, we should just let them think what they need to think.
Yeah, for sure.
So if they think she's voting for the wall and they don't ask, then let them think that.
Right.
People just can't know that. Perhaps no other clip, no other quote can embody just how broken our politics, our system, our elections have become. That in order to get elected, you have to say things you don't believe in and conceal the things you do believe in. Now, at Project Veritas Action, we just want the politicians to come clean. We want them to come out and say it. Be transparent about it. Tell us how broken the system is. Tell us how things really work. If they did that, maybe they would get elected.
So, what were you telling me last night about Planned Parenthood?
How they don't donate to Claire because they don't want to ostracize pro-life Democrats in Missouri.
So, but they still somehow get us money?
They put it through different organizations.
Yeah, I think it's a tactic just to not make them too far left to try to get the moderate voters.
But we're still going to support abortion, right?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more of them not they go through other means to support and give the money. They just don't directly give the money from their PACs.
Oh.
It's we have to lie to get elected.
Essentially.
Well, if we elect enough Democrats, we'll get some gun safety stuff done.
While McCaskill's trying to bill herself as a moderate, which she is not, a new undercover video from Veritas is exposing the senator as anything but.
You also said, Nick, in this later part of the video, that you take money from Planned Parenthood indirectly and that's effing beautiful.
I've got a large body of work that is bipartisan, that does accomplish things that matter for Missouri families. I'm one of the few senators left that's not afraid to call myself a moderate.
Planned Parenthood doesn't donate to Claire? Yeah, I think it's a tactic just to not make them too far left to try to get the moderate voters.
But we're still going to support abortion, right?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
It's we have to lie to get elected.
Essentially.
No, I'm sorry, Claire isn't available right now. No, she's not here. No, she won't be available tomorrow either. Politicians are notorious for saying one thing in public and then doing something entirely different once they get elected into office. Senator Claire McCaskill has turned this into an art form. This time, we talk about how she does it when it comes to her funding. See, in order to win in a state like Missouri, where Donald Trump won by nearly 20 points in 2016, the politician has to become a master in the art of the old bait, and switcheroo.
Something that Darcy found out the other day is that Planned Parenthood will never donate money to Claire, even though she's very pro-choice, because they don't want to ostracize those pro-life Democrats that might not vote for her.
Yeah, that's true.
If there's Planned Parenthood funding.
So they just funnel it through Emily's list?
I'll text you.
Probably.
Okay.
They go through like other means to get us that money. But they specifically will not donate to us.
So, what were you telling me last night about Planned Parenthood?
How they don't donate to Claire because they don't want to ostracize pro-life Democrats in Missouri.
So, but they still somehow get us money?
They put it through like different organizations.
Nick Starost explains how Planned Parenthood hides their financial support from McCaskill, so the senator can try to maintain a moderate image to moderate voters.
I'm pretty sure they donate through through means of whatever, through whether it's through Emily's list or whether it's through something else.
And that's because their name is so polarizing.
Yep.
It keeps the pro-life people from knowing, or the pro-life Dems from
Unless they go deep down into campaign finance, which most people just do not.
Right.
And the people that do, that are actively looking for that, aren't going to be voting for her anyway. Let's be honest.
Right.
So yeah.
All right. So it's to keep the Planned Parenthood name off of the thing, but we still get the dough.
Yep.
Nice. I love that stuff. I love it.
It's great when it works for us. Let's be honest.
Starost seems quite proud that the McCaskill campaign is doing something wrong and getting away with it. Our journalist proceeded to corroborate the story with Grace Richardson, a senior campaign official with the Claire McCaskill campaign.
So I'm still trying to wrap my head around that thing Nick was talking about the other day, that Planned Parenthood won't donate to us.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand why. I don't get it.
I think it's the same with Obama not endorsing any red state Democrats. It's so that Democrat isn't coming off as too leftist establishment.
The other thing Claire McCaskill's doing, remember I mentioned totally swampy. She's trying to have the best of both worlds. So she can go to a community and say, well, I don't take any money from Planned Parenthood, or her staff can say that, and that lets people say, oh, well, that's good. She's a different kind of Democrat. Except it's not true, right? I mean, the point is, she's playing both two-faced to try to hold voters. And again, in Missouri, people are not buying it anymore. They're looking through that. They want answers. They want them up front, and they're going to be very interested about what they're seeing here.
Yeah, I think it's a tactic just to not make them too far left to try to get the moderate voters.
But we're still going to support abortion, right?
Yes, yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more of them not they go through other means to support and give the money. They just don't directly give the money from their PACs.
Oh, so basically, we're still going to protect a woman's right to choose.
Oh yeah, 100%.
We just got to kind of.
She did it.
What's that?
I don't think I could work for Claire if she did it.
Right.
I'd probably.
Me neither. Yeah. It's a big deal for me too.
Richardson tells our journalist that Planned Parenthood goes through, quote, other means to support and give the money, unquote.
I don't know why Republicans are so against Planned Parenthood, but whatever.
Yeah, so the name is toxic to some.
To some.
Okay. But it's so weird because they are abortion, basically.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah.
So it's I know she gets a lot of money from Emily's list. I'm just that and guns are my two biggest issues.
Yeah, no, I think she's going to stay pretty strong on them. It's just the name brand.
We continued to corroborate the story of deception with others with the McCaskill campaign, all saying the same thing.
It was Grace that was telling me that while we don't take donations from Planned Parenthood, we take donations from Planned Parenthood.
Indirectly.
Yeah.
Nick was telling me that you were doing some research and you found out that Planned Parenthood won't donate to us?
Oh
yeah, so Planned Parenthood doesn't donate to Claire.
Curious about that.
So it's not that they don't support Claire, it's because they know it's a tough state to win for a Democrat, and they don't want to hurt her chances of winning it by donating money. Because even some moderate Dems are pro-life, and even those Republicans that are going to vote for Claire, because they're pretty moderate, she could lose them if Planned Parenthood donated money to her. I just looked it up. I was like, what does Planned Parenthood do for Claire? But
And it's nada.
it's like Missouri and maybe 2 other states that they don't donate to because they know it could hurt them in the election.
Just the 2.
Well, yeah, because at first I was like, but then I was like, oh, I get that, because they explained it or something because they don't want to hurt her chances of getting those lean GOPs and the undecided. So.
Some staffers even told our journalist that Senator McCaskill was more progressive than she appeared.
No, you were saying that you think she's more progressive than she lets on.
Yeah.
I think so too. I think she's a lot more open-minded to alternative routes to things, but she can't be open about that.
Why not?
Because she would completely isolate her the moderate Republicans.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't. I know how campaigns work and stuff, but I'm just I'm progressive, and I want her to be progressive, and it's let's be as progressive as we really are, but
nope.
It seems like there's a pattern in all these states. They have to appeal to 2 different groups of people.
That's right.
But is Claire, when she gets into office, which side will she choose?
Yeah, I remember when I ran the party, I met an old timer. He said to me, I never knew how one of the Democrats voted in Washington. This was back in the 70s, because it took 2 weeks for the votes to get published in the Congressional Quarterly. With Claire, she tries the same thing. She tries to hide how she governs in Washington because Senator McCaskill's voting for all of Obama's priorities, voting against all of Trump's priorities, voting against judges that the majority of Missourians want. So she's trying to play it both ways, but her record, and we've been talking about this for 10 years, her record is far left.
And Grace was telling me basically that we have to, we definitely get money from them, but they route it through whatever. Yeah. I don't know if it's PACs or individuals or whatever to make sure that that money gets there, but not have the Planned Parenthood name on it, which is just I hate the whole game. Yeah. I mean, I get it, and it's.
I get it, but it doesn't make you feel any better about it.
No, it's. Yeah. It's like we have to lie to get elected.
Essentially.
So yeah, all right. So it's to keep the Planned Parenthood name off of the thing, but we still get the dough.
Yep.
Nice. I love that stuff.
Effing beautiful, he says. You can see and hear how broken the system is. That these campaign staffers talking about how they have to, quote, essentially lie to get elected. And there's a lot more to come. This is happening all across the country. We're going to expose as much of it as we can, all of them, each one by one, until the American people wake up and see how broken the system is. And coming up next, we expose a wolf in sheep's clothing. And that wolf is exposed by a senior official who works in that senator's Washington, D.C. office.
From Ozarks First, you're watching Color 10 News at 5.
So you would be on board with the bump stock?
Of course.
Bump stocks,
Oh, I've voted
high capacity mags.
I've voted for most of those things before.
For a ban?
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, airing for the first time last night on a Fox News program hosted by Sean Hannity, this video by a team known as Project Veritas is now calling out Senator Claire McCaskill for allegedly being more liberal than her campaign implies.
Veritas is led by James O'Keefe, maybe known best for his right-leaning hidden camera-style investigations. You may recall 2 aimed at Acorn and Planned Parenthood.
Our political analyst, Dr. Brian Califano, sat down with McCaskill today, where she spoke for the very first time about the allegations made by the team at Project Veritas.
Well, self-described guerrilla journalist James O'Keefe has struck again, this time targeting Missouri Democratic Senator Claire McCaskill, who is deep into a re-election fight against Attorney General Josh Hawley. Now, O'Keefe's organization claims it has audio tapes from representatives from McCaskill's campaign saying the senator takes more liberal positions on policy issues than she's letting the public know about. We sat down with McCaskill for an in-depth interview and got her reaction to O'Keefe's charges.
I've been very upfront about all my positions. In fact, now I remember that very individual talking to me, trying to get me to tell him to say something different than what my positions are. And I said, no, you just got to tell the people on the doors, it is what it is. I've made no secret that I think we can support the Second Amendment and universal background checks and banning bump stocks. My gun record is out in the open for everyone to see. What's really telling about this is how far they're willing to go to fraudulently embed somebody in my campaign. That's startling. I've never seen that in a U.S. Senate campaign before in the state of Missouri.
Just what impact O'Keefe's videos will have on McCaskill's re-election prospects are unclear, but it certainly remains a tight race between McCaskill and Hawley. Brian Calfeno, Ozarks First.
After the video ran on Fox News last night, Missouri Attorney General and Senate candidate Josh Hawley featured the Veritas video in a campaign email. Whether the spread of this footage will be accepted as valid journalism or whether it'll have any impact on the McCaskill campaign or November's election is for you, the public, to decide.
And since you brought it up, let me just say about the Veritas videos. There was nothing in those videos that were bad from my perspective because people in Missouri know where I stand on these issues. They got some kids behind closed doors talking out of school, big deal. I'll tell you what was a big deal. They fraudulently embedded themselves in my campaign for weeks, misrepresenting who they were. They got into our computers, proprietary information for 20 hours. Who knows what they stole? They weren't there to help me. They were there to help Josh Hawley. And the idea that a complaint has been filed with the Attorney General's office, and when we called to ask about the complaint, they said, call the campaign. The Attorney General's office cannot allow there to be a new normal, that fraud can be committed in anybody's campaign. I don't care if it's somebody I'm for or somebody I'm against. That somebody can come in and commit fraud and get in your computers, and the Attorney General does nothing. That cannot be the new normal.
I want to give both of you 60 seconds, but go ahead, Mr. Hawley.
Thank you. There's the Washington two-step right there. Senator McCaskill is caught saying something on video, and she blames me. Her initial reaction was to accuse me of fraud, to accuse me personally of fraud, which is absolutely outrageous and totally not true. And then to ask for the state of Missouri, I guess, to appoint a prosecutor with taxpayer money to go after her political opponents. Now, I know it's become fashionable on campuses for liberal Democrats to shut down speakers they don't like, but I have never heard of the state appointing a prosecutor with taxpayer money to go after a political opponent. And to accuse me of, I just think it's, again, we're at the desperation phase of Senator McCaskill's campaign.
Ms. McCaskill?
Yeah, I'm not asking for a lot of by the way, he's appointed special prosecutors all the time. His office, there's been 3 different articles written in the last 2 weeks about the mess in his office right now. He's in a hurry. He's never even gone in a courtroom and tried a criminal case in his life. So maybe he should be appointing other prosecutors. But the point is that this was a fraud. This isn't about the tape. People in Missouri know where I stand. I've done 52 town halls. I've walked in anywhere in Missouri, said, come on in, ask me any question. I'm not afraid to tell anybody where I stand. I am afraid of an attorney general that looks the other way when somebody comes in and steals proprietary information out of somebody's computer.
I do want to ask a follow-up here real quick, so indulge me for a few moments if you would. Ms. McCaskill, do you blame Mr. Hawley's campaign for that video?
No, I don't blame him for that video, but what I do blame him for is when a complaint is filed under the Merchandise Practicing Act, which he talks about and touts all the time, with a clear prima facie case has been laid out, that instead of immediately saying, of course we'll look into it, they refer us to his campaign as if this was not a serious matter. That's what I'm complaining about.
And Mr. Hawley, did your campaign have anything to do with that video?
Absolutely not. And to accuse me of fraud, which is what Senator McCaskill did, she said that I committed fraud. that I participated in a fraud. She said that on television.
I didn't say it on television.
It's on Color 10. The video is widely available. I'm sure it's being sent even now.